Although the PlayStation Vita won't be out here in North America until late February, it's been out for almost about a month in Japan, so I want to give you guys my full review on the Japanese model. The PlayStation Vita has a very well constructed design that gives it a nice sleek and premium look. When compared to its predecessor, the PlayStation Portable, the PS Vita is a lot more larger and heftier, especially when compared to its competitor, the Nintendo 3DS. However, despite its larger form factor, it still manages to be a pocketable system. The PlayStation Vita is entirely constructed out of plastic with a glossy finish. This doesn't exactly take away from the premium look, however it does add a lot of finger smudges, especially to the newly added 5-inch OLED display. Now speaking of the display, you'll see that indoors there's some glare issues, but when you play outside there's practically no use for the Vita because the glare is just too much of an issue. You can raise the brightness of the screen, which will sort of help, but it doesn't fix the issue and it just wears out your battery even more. And since we're speaking of batteries, Sony has said that the PS Vita can deliver a battery life of up to 5 hours, which they definitely delivered. I was actually pretty shocked to see the amazing battery life of this console when actually seeing the tech specs this thing has to offer, especially when it's compared to the 3-hour battery life of the Nintendo 3DS. The PlayStation Vita's new controls have been slightly shrunk down to that of the original PSP 3000, so you will need to get used to these newly adjusted sized control buttons and analog sticks, but surprisingly they were very responsive during gameplay. Now some of the newest features of the PlayStation Vita is the new ways you could play the games. The PlayStation Vita offers a new gyroscope, a back touch panel, as well as a new front touchscreen. Now although these controls seem cool at first, they're more used like gimmicks in gameplay rather than actual new controls. They're just meant to complement new gameplay, not really replace it. Now one control I did have issues with were the analog sticks. The sensitivity of the analog sticks were pretty bad, especially when playing games like Uncharted Golden Abyss during the first-person shootouts, so they really need to improve that in future games like in Call of Duty or Resistance, because currently it's just very annoying to play on Uncharted. Sony has added a back and front facing camera for new ways to play, as well as to take pictures with your new PlayStation Vita. Now although Sony has decided to add cameras to the Vita, this won't be replacing your digital camera anytime soon. It'll just basically be passable for games like Little Deviants and other AR games. Sony has also ditched its cross-media bar look for a new bubble UI, which kind of mimics the look of a smartphone. If you want to change your settings, there's an app for that. If you want to play a game, there's an app for that. If you want to go on the internet, there is an app for that. The new bubble UI basically mimics the look of a smartphone, and that's pretty much a hit or miss depending on the user. Although one feature I did enjoy with the new UI was the ability to multitask between different applications using the live page views. Sony has also added some brand new applications to the PlayStation Vita, like PlayStation Near, which is meant to be a competitor to Nintendo's Street Pass feature. However, it's pretty limited right now, and it just falls short when compared to Street Pass. Now despite the lacking Near application, Sony has actually added a very nice, well-working, functioning messaging application. With this new messenger app, you'll be able to send messages between different PSNs on the PlayStation 3 or the PS Vita. Additionally, Sony has also added a new party application which you could create parties to talk to PS Vita or PS3 users, as well as just set up game invites with other PS Vitas. Overall, this demonstrates how messaging should be done on a handheld gaming console, unlike Nintendo's Swap Note application, which pretty much just kinda sucks. Now, the one major flaw I see with the PS Vita is the price. The PlayStation Vita will cost $250 for the Wi-Fi model, $300 for the 3G model. Games will cost between $25 to $50 depending on the publisher and game. And Sony has added a new proprietary memory card, which you must use, which are very expensive and you pretty much have to buy from Sony. Overall, the PlayStation Vita can well cost you over $350 at launch. When compared to other devices in the same price range like a PS3, an Xbox 360, a Wii, tablets, smartphones, sometimes even computers, this is pretty much a very hard sell. However, the PlayStation Vita has not launched in North America yet, so there's plenty of time for price drops, new games to come out, new features and system updates to be added to the Vita. So pretty much, it's still a open canvas for the future. Overall, the PlayStation Vita has great hardware, great design, and great battery life. However, the price may scare away some customers. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this review of the Japanese model of the PlayStation Vita. And if you guys did, you guys can go ahead and check out psvitavlog.com for more news and coverage on the Vita. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.